Hey everyone, this is Seif with the International Hairlines Academy, and I've been getting a lot of requests about drawing soft hairlines specifically. So I wanted to make a quick video and show you guys how it is that I do it. Obviously a lot of trainers have their own way of doing it, and there's not one right way to do it as long as the result is achieved, which is basically symmetry and something that looks natural. So what I like to do, even if I'm doing a soft hairline, I actually, to make sure that the symmetry is perfect to begin with, I will actually draw a hard hairline first and then draw the soft one behind it and then erase the hard one. So that way you get your angles right and it's symmetrical on both sides. So what I typically do is I try to find 5 reference points, right? The first one is the top of the forehead. So what I do is I'll divide the face in 2, right? And this is very difficult to do from behind, but what I'm gonna do is do it and then show you guys. So we'll split the face in 2 halves basically, and then find the right point at which to put the top of the forehead. And typically you use the frown lines or wherever it is that the client wants to put it, obviously within reason. So let's say this is where we decide to put the first reference point. So that's 1 out of 5. The next 2 reference points I like to do are the temples. So there are other ways to, other tools that you can use to help you do this. I'm showing you the basic ways, basically using a wax pencil and a ruler, and that's it. So the most important thing is symmetry and getting everything equal on both sides. So we're gonna find the temple point here, right? And then we're gonna find the corresponding one and make sure that they're equal. So how we can do this is we can measure, for example, the distance from the top of the ear. So in this case, it's 1.2 inches and 1.4 inches from the edge of the eyebrow. Now, you can obviously freehand this, but I'm just showing you different ways of making sure that it's symmetrical. So I'm gonna find my other temple point, okay? And that way I have the first 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, the next 2 are the most critical, which are the corners, right? So, depending on how low or how high the hairline is gonna be, you're gonna put them accordingly. Now, 2 rules to follow. First of all, you don't want the corner point to be ahead of the temple point, never. And you don't want the corner point to be below the center point. So it's gonna be higher than the center point and behind the temple. So let's pick this point right here, okay, as an example. And then we're gonna find a corresponding point on the other side. So make sure when you look at it from the top, right, that you can draw a line across the head to make sure that it's even on the other side. So I'm gonna find the same point on the other side. And make sure that it's symmetrical. All right, so what we'll do is connect. I like to connect the temples first. Or the side profiles, basically. Okay, and now we gotta connect the 2 corners with the center. So it's typically easier on human skin because you can get a little indentation with the ruler, and then you can just follow that. But with my friend Jonah over here, I can't do that. So I'm just gonna freehand it for now. Like I said, doing it from behind is a lot more difficult I'm doing it from the front, so especially when you're freehanding it. Let's see how that turned out. All right, it's not perfect, but the great thing about it is you can always make adjustments to get it perfect. Well, you can always take a Q-tip and make minor adjustments. So what we have is here, if you can see, is a pretty sharp hairline. So from here, we have a good framework. Now we can scale it back and turn it into a soft one. How do you do that? So the corners here are the most essential. So you want to round this out, okay, and soften it. So what I'll do is I'll go a little bit behind it, okay, and then I'll connect back to the same temple and kind of go with a more dotted broken line, okay. And connect right back to the center point again. See that? So let's erase the original line and keep the soft line. So until you learn how to do this freehand without starting with the sharp line first, you know, it's gonna take less time to do it moving forward. But you see, now you have a nice framework from which to work. Now, what I like to do is that I tell my students, when it's important not just to draw the hairline, but to also map out how you're gonna approach the hairline when you're actually doing the pigmentation. So you gotta look at it as steps. So you wanna work your way down as you're approaching the hairline to give it like a nice gradual soft feel. So you can leave about an inch, let's say, from the front. Right, so what we're trying to basically decrease the density as we go down. So you're gonna leave a little bit of room behind the hairline, and then you can make it even more gradual than that if you want, and add maybe another inch behind it. Okay, so you're looking at super high density over here, a little bit lower density, and lower and lower. And as you get to the hairline, right, you want to break it up and make it as scattered and as soft as possible. So sometimes you'll see guys that like to draw zigzags or shark teeth, as some call it, in order to basically, when you're going in these spots, it gives you a better guideline. I don't typically do that. I just kind of leave it nice and scattered, and I get you know, pretty creative as I'm working with the actual machine and pigment. So the ideal product at the end of the first session after you've drawn it is for it to look like this. So if you look closely, see the impressions are more dense and more prominent back here, and as you get down to the hairline, see, they start to get jagged and more broken. I hope this comes clear through the video so you guys can see it. But that's a great first session, and then as you add the sessions, you can increase the density behind the hairline to add that more of that natural, soft and gradual feel to it. So there's obviously a lot more to learn about this. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. If you'd like to sign up for one of my classes, let me know. Hopefully after this lockdown, we'll be able to do a lot more educational and informational webinars, seminars, in-person classes, and all that jazz. So until then, take care.